Councilman, welcome back to the program here. Fluoride is recommended by the American Dental Association, as you know, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the World Health Organization, the U.S. Public Health Service. Why is Dallas questioning this?
Well, I would say, Jason, it's not necessarily about Dallas questioning it, more so addressing some of what we hear on a regular basis. So we've had a consistent stream of speakers during open mic public speaking for several years since I've been on council. And I thought that it was most important for us, if we are going to definitively give a stance that we support something or oppose it, that we should give the benefit of the doubt to the subject being risen by our constituents. And with that, there's a lot that I learned through the process. I'm not a medical or a dental professional. And a lot that I had heard on why this practice existed was because it just existed for as long as it did. And I really wanted to dig into some of the opposition that we've heard, some of the claims that I think in the end from both briefings that we had in quality of life show us to not be founded. And I believe that there is a concern that gets conflated with an overconcentration of fluoride, which is nothing near where we are doing with DWU. We're only supplementing to meet up to the recommended level from the CDC.
Right. You said you wanted to hear an opposing view as a chairman of the Quality of Life Committee at Dallas City Council. Are you getting the indication that fluoride is bad in water? Is that what people are telling you?
Well, we've definitely heard some correlation that I think, just as Dr. Wong said, can be viewed ultimately as scare tactics and sometimes even conspiracy theorists based on what I think is not well-researched claims. And I think that that's what we ended up seeing. And we called out the second panel for giving us a lack of context. It's something that I don't think any briefing should ever have, which is a biased stance, but more of an educational opportunity for policymakers to sift through both sides of the argument and make our own informed decisions.
Let me read a couple of headlines, which I'm sure you've seen by now. This is from the Dallas Morning News. Why is Dallas City Hall humoring fluoride conspiracy theorists? Dallas Observer says Dallas continues having dumb conversations about fluoride. What's your reaction to those?
I think that those make for great headlines, and I know media has to do their job, but so do I. And I was elected to be a policymaker with the right education to make decisions. And this wasn't brought forth with an intent to take action to take something away. But more so that we have the resources and knowledge that we should have to be able to go back to our constituents who we hear from on a regular basis and explain to them why this is something that is supported by the city of Dallas and why we believe that there is a benefit for the public good.
What do you expect is going to happen next on this? Will a proposal come out of this committee regarding fluoride in water?
No, I don't believe that a proposal is going to come out of this. I think that, again, it was more of clearing up some misconceptions that had been brought out to the public. DWU is going to give us essentially a summary of what we've heard from both briefings. And then I plan on issuing a statement that will be very clear and explicit to the stance that the city of Dallas takes with fluoridating our water.
When's that going to happen?
I'm at the mercy of staff to give me their summary so that I can make sure that there isn't a lack of context in what I issue. So I will continue to apply some pressure on them to get it through, but I could say that it should happen in the next week or two.
What should we expect from the statement? Which way are you leaning on this?
Well, I definitely believe that the harm, I guess, that is introduced as a possibility for fluoridating water, to me, is clearly not the practice that the city of Dallas is doing. There's not an overconcentration. We are looking to where our natural occurring fluoride exists in our water levels and how it's meant to be supplemented. There were claims that have been brought forth about different cities that have gone away from, and after digging in, learning that those cities don't necessarily have they don't have as much to compensate for with the natural occurring fluoride in their water. But everyone seems to be looking to a certain level that is recommended by the CDC. I ultimately believe that this is a practice that serves a good to the public. I think a lot of the questions that we had have been answered, and overall, I don't see this again being something that action would come from. In fact, I believe that this is something that would result in no action.
And just for clarification, you don't see any way, at least while you're on city council, that fluoride is going to be removed from Dallas water.
I do not see that fluoride will be taken out of Dallas water as long as I'm considered.
Let me ask about the talk going on at City Hall too, about changing the city elections from May until November. That would obviously, the idea there is to increase turnout like Houston does, I believe. But there's also talk about letting city council members serve longer terms, and also, term limits might change. Explain to folks why that's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Jason. I believe that this charter review is a great opportunity for us to evaluate the efficiencies and inefficiencies in our government. And the term limits is something that I think has been consistently voiced to need to be longer. I've heard it from constituents on a regular basis. So this doesn't come to as a shock to me. 70% of our job is land use. And if we're going through a zoning case that goes through extensive public input and comment, and there's an expectation for that tangible result that all voters need to see, is that those tangible results, it's really hard within a 2-year time period to have even been able to start and complete a project so that your constituents can hold you accountable. That's one argument. Another argument is, quite frankly, the form of government that we have is essentially like a Fortune 500 company that has a CEO and a board of directors, and the council acts as the board of directors. I personally don't like to see that at any given election cycle, our entire board of directors could be wiped away. So I think that a conversation about staggering our terms needs to be had to not put our city in any vulnerable states going forward. In addition to that, I think that the move from May to November is absolutely something that would increase voter turnout. However, just as you've mentioned with Houston, and we saw with the mayor election this week, turnout in our state has to increase. And so I don't know that this is going to be a silver bullet. And I say that to say that we have to weigh out what it is that we're trying to accomplish overall. And if the only feasible way that doesn't allow for partisanship to really drive a wedge in the results of what local elections are would be to be an odd year. However, if we had staggered terms, I think that the odd year could be a hard thing to accomplish. So there's several different conversations that we're going to have to figure out what is going to make this be the most efficient way to continue our government moving forward.
And the deadlines for this, if it gets out of the Charter Review Commission, when would y'all have it?
So the Charter Commission by charter has to be given a year to do their work. Now they don't have to use the entire year, but they have that luxury. December 15th is the deadline that City Hall has put in to receive recommendations from the public. And as those recommendations are coming in, our Charter Review Committee commission is going through those recommendations and kind of sifting through at their level before the recommendations are given to council. And then at that time, we would have to make our final vote and issue referendum to the voters to make the last decision.
Councilman, it's good to see you again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.